Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, alaikum salam.
Yes, go ahead, sister, you're on the air.
Okay, I've got a question about istikhara.
Yes.
After praying Salât Istikhara, how do you differentiate between what you're inclined to and what Allah has directed you to? So if you have two options and you before praying istikhara, you weren't inclined to either, but then after praying istikhara, because I heard that you shouldn't follow what you're inclined to, but you should follow what Allah has directed you to. But then I really don't understand how you know that. And my second question is, can the dua be in your own language?
Okay, so the first question about istikhara, realize, my dear sister in Islam, that there is so much myth around istikhara that wallahi, it's just depressing to see so much myth put around istikhara. And there are unreasonable expectations and ridiculous conditions put upon the one doing istikhara. It is humanly impossible for you to have 2 or 3 options, and every single time you have zero inclination towards any one of these options more than the other. Maybe sometimes this is possible, but in every single time you have 2 options and your heart is dead neutral, this is impossible. You get a lucrative job offer of mashallah £100,000, and another job offer of 50,000 with much worse working conditions. Of course your heart is going to be inclined towards the 100,000 offer. You get a proposal from a brother who's mashallah, he meets all of your criterion, whereas another proposal he meets 1 or 2 and the rest are not met. Of course your heart will incline towards the former rather than the latter. This is a ludicrous condition that honestly has no basis in the Sharia, to put this condition that your heart has to be neutral. Rather, it is expected that your heart will be inclined towards one, and it's impossible to change that human expectation. So istikhara is not meant to play with your emotions. Istikhara is meant to open up the avenues from Allah Azza wa Jal regarding which path is better for you and which path is not better for you. So let me give you a scenario. Suppose you wanted to rent an apartment, and you saw the apartment and you're looking for apartments, you see one, everything fits and you're so happy and your heart is jumping for joy. I got the deal. You go home, you pray istikhara. You go home, you pray istikhara. What happens? All of a sudden, when you go to sign the paper, the landlord says, oh, you know what, I'm so sorry, but the deal is not able to go through. Or another technicality happens and you don't get your apartment that you want. This is your istikhara being put into effect. Why? Because the meaning of Salât Istikhara is that Allah Azza wa Jal will block the avenues that are harmful to you and open up the avenues that are better for you. Therefore, do as your heart wishes. Do as your heart is content in doing. And if that is good for you, the doors will open up. And if that is not good for you, those doors will not open up, and Allah Azza wa Jal will divert you somewhere else, and you will be content in this diversion because you will realize this is the result of my istikhara. And I hope that that clarifies. As for the issue of dua, then my dear sister in Islam, realize that of course you may and you should make dua in your language. None of the scholars of the world ever has said that every dua has to be made in the Arabic language. We don't believe, like some of the groups in ancient Christianity believe, that Latin is the only language that you can do anything religious in. No, we don't have it in this way. Arabic is sacred because of the Quran and Sunnah. So we only recite the Quran in Arabic, and scholars only study the Hadith in Arabic. However, in our daily du'as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in giving Islamic advice, I'm speaking to you in English right now. It's not Latin, it's not Greek, it's not Aramaic, it's not Arabic. I'm giving you Islamic instruction in English. And this is what our religion tells us to do. That advice, lectures, nasiha, du'a, all of this can be done in any language. Allah Azza wa Jal understands all languages. Therefore, we are not required, and there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that our dua has to be in any language. Rather, quite the contrary, there are many evidences that demonstrate that dua can and should be done in the language that you speak the most fluently, and Allah Azza wa Jal, of course, will understand that. The most important condition of dua is sincerity. And how can you have sincerity when you don't even know what you are saying? So make dua in your language, and make plenty of dua in your language. No doubt, by the way, I have to say before we move on to the next question, no doubt the best du'as are those found in the Quran and Sunnah, and they are in Arabic. So if you memorize those du'as, and use them, this is best. But those du'as don't cater to every situation, so there will be specific situations you want to make du'a for. Go ahead and make them in your own language, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.